So a very good morning everyone, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And welcome on the first Microsoft Meet community event around Windows Virtual Desktop. It's a great momentum to be here and to be your host today. And we have some great awesome speakers in the next 6 hours for you prepared. So first of all, before I share you what we have in store for you, I'm Christiaan Brinkhoff. I work as a global black belt for Windows Virtual Desktop within Microsoft. And yeah, let's start. And first of all, I would like to say a huge thank you to all of you. It blew my mind to see so many interest in WVD and Windows Virtual Desktop, and as well in the interest of this community, this first community event organized by us, by our team, our Windows Virtual Desktop team. So a huge thank you, because we received over 2,100 registrations for this event, and we are reaching the 1,000 live streams right now at the moment. So thank you for that, great support, and it makes me feel very good and intense as well for doing my job and helping you, explaining what Windows Virtual Desktop is and some things that we have in store on the roadmap. So in the next 6 hours, a lot of presenters, Microsoft MVPs, Enterprise Mobility MVPs on RDS and Windows Virtual Desktop will walk you through the different field experiences and best practices that they have learned over the last 6 months or a year since the services in GA. And we have as well the Group PM Manager of Windows Virtual Desktop in the closing keynote. So he will share you what's the future vision of Windows Virtual Desktop and some other great stuff will be. So as I said, great things are coming. So sit back, relax, take a sandwich in the meantime, a coffee, a beer, whatever you want, because it will be a great day. So first of all, everything that you see here in this presentation will not be NDA, so you can share whatever you want. So please do, and help other people in the community as well while sharing the things that you learned today, because I have new stuff coming up, and you can use the WVD event 2020 hashtag to make it connected and make us aware that you are sharing things around this event. And the great thing is as well that I have the privilege to share the new ARM management console of Windows Virtual Desktop in the Azure portal, which looks like this. So this is just a teaser. At the end of this keynote, I have a complete walkthrough demo, how you enroll it and how you can experience it in a comparison how it looks today. So let's start with the real content and go first of all a little bit back in time, because it's always good to look back and where things came from, right? So let's go back to April 4, 1975. In 1975, and normally when I have a physical event, I would ask the audience, but right now I will give you the answer. In 1975, Microsoft got created by Paul Allen and Bill Gates. And during that time, Bill Gates and Paul Allen had a clear mission. And that mission was a computer on every desk in every home. So during that time, not everybody had a computer. There was no computer. So it was a really they set the bar very high. And they succeeded, because look around you in your home office or at your normal office. You most likely have a Windows computer on your desk or a server environment which runs Windows. So they pretty much succeeded in their goal. But things are changing right now within Microsoft, and I will walk you through what the vision of Microsoft is today. So if we look at the different operating systems, Windows 3.1, Windows 95, 98, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows Vista, and Windows 8, and eventually Windows 10 when we shifted to Windows as a service. So a great update cycle of an evolution of a desktop operating system. But one thing that I would like to highlight is 1998, because in 1998, Microsoft released the first version of Windows NT Server 4.0, which included Terminal Server, and included as well the first version of RDP 4.0. So as you all know, RDP is the remoting protocol that is being used to remote into a server or a desktop operating system without physically being in front of the display. So that was a game-changing moment of the evolution of RDS and as well Windows Virtual Desktop. So a great momentum and a great key element in time in moving forward to new possibilities around technology that we can use today. So eventually in 2009, terminal services got renamed to remote desktop services, and that eventually evolved in Windows Server 2008 R2 to a better product in 2012 R2, 16 and 19 if you use the latest version. So if you look at that like traditional RDS environment, it's really different from what Windows Virtual Desktop is, and I'm going to touch base on that later on. But if we look at the traditional RDS and then the high-level architecture, it's basically a do-it-yourself environment. You are responsible for the web service, for the gateway service, for the brokering, for the licensing services. All those things are basically all like small pieces that you need to connect and configure and maintain as well. So that's really traditional and not very innovative and efficient and scalable. So if you look at the evolution of RDP, if you look at this like table, you can see that the evolution of RDP and improving and making RDP a very mature protocol really started to take off during Windows 10. So the first like 4 or 5 releases were good and they performed pretty well. But since Windows 10, since we shifted to Windows as a service, like the features and improvements of RDP really changed and started to take off and make it a very good, like mature protocol for eventually Windows Virtual Desktop. So during that time, we started with Bill Gates. There was a shift to Steve Ballmer, and after Steve Ballmer, Satya Nadella changed or switched over from the CEO of Microsoft. And that really changed how Microsoft and how our employees are thinking about the purpose in driving by the sense of purpose of a product, and really think in the customer and in the customer success instead of like creating a product and selling as much as licenses or something similar like that. So Satya Nadella really changed the company and making it like customer driven by feedback, and why are you creating this and why do you enable this set of customers while creating this product. So it's a really good motion right now in the company, and to be honest, the energy around Windows Virtual Desktop is amazing to make this product as part of your M365 licensing model the best product possible as part of Microsoft Azure. So the new mission of Microsoft is, our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. So that describes to make the best out of you as a partner, as a customer, as an end user, to leverage the products that we have in store for you. And a great example is now Windows Virtual Desktop. So if you're interested in how that culture change has been made in like the last 4 years and still happens today, this is a great book of Satya Nadella, which is called Hit Refresh. It's not very expensive. You can buy it in every bookstore, and it describes how that change has been made. And as well, it inspires a lot how great leadership can change, like a large company like Microsoft with like more than 100,000 employees in a new way of thinking, in like a growing learning curve, and think in what the customer wants and help the customer in implementing it, and then after that, finish your job. And that's a really good motion, and that makes me very happy to be part of Microsoft today. And in that book, Satya describes as well the motion and the change within Microsoft, because Microsoft is part of the digital transformation as well, in the change from traditional RDS or a traditional VDI environment to a modern infrastructure. So that change started in 2017 with like the great mindset of the company that really is powerful that this crowd describes. And our industry does not respect tradition. What it respects is innovation. So you want to be on the cutting edge of technology, and you want to enable your customers as well with new technology that we provide to you. And making like Windows Virtual Desktop possible and make it more efficient to deploy like a traditional RDS or VDI infrastructure while running it on Microsoft Azure, that is one great example of that. So let's switch to 2017, and that was the moment when Microsoft announced or publicly talked about Project RDMI. Project RDMI is called Remote Desktop Modern Infrastructure, and that means that RDS has been shifted and rebuilt as a born-in-the-cloud solution on native Azure Platform as a Service services to make it more efficient and more scalable. So the complete stack, the control plane that you saw in the traditional RDS environment is now completely shifted to native cloud Azure services. So that makes it very efficient and scalable to implement a Windows Virtual Desktop environment. So in the meantime, between 2017 and today, Microsoft acquired as well Avaslogics. Avaslogics is a company, or was a company, that was the leading company in profile and application delivery on desktop virtualization environments. And they make it possible to store your Windows profile into a container in a virtual hard drive. And that makes it possible to use like your profile storage in a way that the operating system doesn't see or know that you have like a profile redirection in place. So it acts the same as like a local computer, which is amazing because it's established and it creates the enhancement of Office 365 virtualization experience as part of Windows Virtual Desktop. So that's the fundament of Windows Virtual Desktop for profile and application delivery. So I was part of Avaslogics, some of my other team members as well, and it's a huge acknowledgement as well to see Microsoft buying your company to enhance their product roadmap to help their customers. So this is a great picture of me and the Avaslogics team in Redmond, the first time when we got acquired at Building 92 in Redmond. And what you can see on this picture is obviously myself, but the CTO, the founder as well, Randy Cook, Benny Tridge, Gabe Knut, and some other members as well of the team, and the product manager of Avaslogics, Doug Coombs. So great momentum and a key element in the journey of making Windows Virtual Desktop successful. So Windows Virtual Desktop is as well a revolutionary service, and I'm touching base in the next slide on that, but it gives you as well an exclusive offering for an operating system which is new and only available within Windows Virtual Desktop, and that's called Windows 10 Enterprise Multi-Session. And with Windows 10 Multi-Session, you get the benefits of Windows Server of multi-session, but the benefits of Windows 10 as well, which gives you the same experience of Windows 10. You get a Cortana, UEP apps, but as well the Windows as a Service 6 months update cadence, so you are always ensured that you have the latest and greatest features of Windows 10. So that's the reason why we created that operating system, to solve the trade-off in experience of Windows Server and to make the best out of you as a user, end user as well on the user experience, to make it more efficient to deliver a Windows 10 virtual desktop and get the benefit of multiple sessions, so consume the resources all together and make it more efficient because of that. So an exclusive offering and a game-changing moment as well, because that was never possible in the past. So really a great example of Microsoft thinking in, okay, how can we make this better for our end users and customers, obviously. So in the end, Windows Virtual Desktop got released in GA and on September 30th in 2019 last year. So we are now around like 6-7 months in GA, and already a lot of customers are leveraging it in their production environment. So huge acknowledgement of the industry seeing so many interest in this service. So coming at the point, so what is now really different from like RDS, traditional RDS deployments and traditional VDI deployments? So the most important thing to keep in mind is the first bucket that you can see on this slide. So if you see the slides, the different components that you see over there are normally the components that you spin up yourself. They are now combined in a platform as a service managed service offering that Microsoft manage and maintain for you. So that's already prepared, so you can easily spin up a complete desktop environment in like a couple of hours if you want to. So it's a very efficient way to do that. And because you are licensed for this service, like for example M365, then that control plane is basically for free as well. So that overhead and cost and maintenance is all combined and covered in your existing licenses. So that's what we call the Windows Virtual Desktop Workspace, and previously known as the tenant. So the middle bucket is your Azure subscription, and that's where you create your session host, promote your applications as a remote app or your full desktops, and as well your application delivery and your FSLogix profile containers. You can use like operating systems like Windows 10 single session as well for persistent virtual desktops. You can use Windows Server as well, 2012, 16 and 19, and Windows 7 as well with 3 years extended security updates. And the other great thing is that you release yourself from like the networking storage and hypervisor, like networking storage and compute hypervisor layer as well, because you leverage IaaS of Azure. So it's a very efficient way of doing desktop virtualization on the front end as well as on the back end. So it's a very fast and efficient way of spinning up a complete desktop infrastructure. So that leads me to the next topic. 6 months later, after the GA release, COVID-19 hit in, and that is a very negative situation. We are all part of that. I'm in a Microsoft office in Amsterdam, and I think I'm with like the camera guys. I'm like probably one of the 10 people that is active in this building. So it's very negative. But the positive thing of COVID-19 is that part of Azure and as well Windows Virtual Desktop and the services, we make it possible to continue work from home. So Windows Virtual Desktop enables a lot of companies right now that were unable to work from home very easily and efficiently from the Azure cloud. And that eventually decreased in the interest of Windows Virtual Desktop in 3 times more than before before COVID-19. So a great acknowledgement again, and a huge growth of 3 times more of the resources. And to be frank with you, the number that you see in this blog article is way more than it actually is like written in letters here. So great, huge acknowledgement, and it describes as well how stable and how scalable this service is. I cannot share the exact number that is logging on daily to our Windows Virtual Desktop service, but you will be amazed what that number is. And the other great thing is that we're just getting started, because the service is just 6-7 months like GA, and we have a lot of great new features in store where our customers really are waiting for it to get in their products. So let's cover some new capabilities that are available today in a public preview or coming in this quarter to you as part of your Windows Virtual Desktop features. So first of all, we recently released the public preview of Active Directory support for Azure Files. So you can now store efficiently your profile containers on Azure Files without completely managing and maintaining your infrastructure. So that's one of the key elements to leverage more platform as a service services as part of your Windows Virtual Desktop environment. Microsoft Teams audio and video redirection to run Teams as it performs locally on your physical laptop will be available for Windows Virtual Desktop in this quarter as well. So it's coming very soon. We run private previews for this feature, and it succeeds already in most of the features for our largest customers. So it will move into in a public preview very soon. Support for thin clients, Linux thin clients is being announced in January, where Agile operating system is the first, Agile technology is the first vendor that can leverage that. And we align more with the M365 security enhancement that the licensing model can give you, like Azure MFA, conditional access, all that kind of stuff, and as well airbag on Azure. More on that in the next slide. And another great thing, and that's very revolutionary as well, just like RDP was revolutionary in 1998, is the release of the public preview release of MSAX App Attach. MSAX App Attach is our application delivery and virtualization technology that can efficiently publish an application to your Windows Virtual Desktop session host without actually installing that application on the virtual machine, on the image. So you can update your applications on the fly separately from your image. So that's very revolutionary, because image management will be simplified dramatically because of that. And Misha and Freek will talk you through what MSX App Attach is after this keynote section. So Great content is coming, as I promised you earlier. But last but not least of this is the improvement in the admin experience. So the great next big thing that is coming to Windows Virtual Desktop is the shift to like a fully ARM, Azure Portal integration for management and as well the implementation of Windows Virtual Desktop. So we've received a lot of feedback from customers that said, okay, Windows Virtual Desktop, we need to implement that and partly via PowerShell, we need to create that tenant, what we now call the workspace via PowerShell. So it's a lot of mix of PowerShell and eventually the Azure Portal. So we obviously listened to that. The management console will become in this quarter available in the Azure Portal. So your complete deployment from A to Z will be possible to enroll in the Azure Portal and as well in your Azure subscription, all via the new management console. Which also means that the components of creating your workspace, your tenant, will be possible to do via ARM, and as well your host pool, and as well your application groups. And the other great thing is that we integrate, because of that, with the RBAC model of Azure, of the Azure Portal, so you can delegate access even more. And deeper log analytics integration, which makes it possible to export your registration data of your host pools, for example, directly into log analytics and create custom dashboards because of that. So other great thing that we hear a lot in the request is changing the metadata location of your environment. That will be possible as well in this new Azure ARM portal, the spring update, how we call it as well. And last but not least, we will support Azure Active Directory group support for application and desktop assignment. So great new things are coming. So let's switch over to the new Azure ARM portal and show you how that looks and feels. So if you have access to the new ARM portal, management portal, you can just search in the menu for Windows Virtual Desktop and start from there, from A to Z, and start your deployment. So you can click on Create a Host Pool. And here you can define the normal properties that you do yourself as well in the current version of Windows Virtual Desktop. So you select your Azure subscription, you can give in a host pool name, and as well the location of the metadata can be changed here, which is impossible today. And you can change the host pool type to your personal, to make it static, like a one-to-one to a Windows 10 single session, or pooled based on Windows 10 multi-session. You can give in the maximum amount of sessions that can be logging on to your host pool. And then you can add virtual machines, session hosts to that host pool. You can do it later as well, but here you can give in the amount of machines. You can decide if you want to use an existing image, like from the shared image gallery, or an existing Azure managed image. That's all possible from here as well. And the great thing is that you can do this as well as a post-enrollment. So you can expand your host pools as well via this configuration menu. So you give in as well the Azure or the Active Directory credentials to do the Active Directory domain join of your computer accounts. And once you're done with that, then the new menu starts to kick in, and that's basically your workspace creation. So the workspace is now called the tenant, and within the workspace, you connect to your host pools, to basically your organization, your Windows Virtual Desktop control plane. So here you give in the workspace name, and normally you had to do this via PowerShell. This is now possible to do via the console, and you can as well add existing workspaces to new host pools. So that's all possible to do from here. So I did the enrollment already, and this is how it looks when you do a successful enrollment. And here you can see that I have my desktops, my remote apps here. You can see the status of my machines in my host pool. So you can see, okay, my machine is running perfectly fine. You can see which applications I have promoted as a remote app. And the great thing is that you can do that on the fly here as well via the Azure portal. So you can just click on assignments, and you can just click on add, and it searched then in the start menu of your session host which application is available on your session host, and there you can select your applications that you want to promote for your end users. So it's a very easy way to do that from the Azure portal directly. You can obviously do it as well via PowerShell, but you can now decide whether you want to use the GUI or the PowerShell modules for that. So Another great thing is that you can assign those applications, obviously to users, but one of the main feedback items that we heard from customers is that where's the option to do that for Active Directory groups? So we made the change, and now it is possible in this new management portal to do it for Azure Active Directory groups as well. So you can synchronize your local Active Directory groups to Azure AD, and then you can use it as a dynamic way of assigning users to a remote app. So great improvements that have been made because of that. Another great improvement, by the way, is the users section that you now have available in the new management portal. So you can search for users as like an help desk-like approach, service desk approach. You can see which applications are assigned to that user, and you can see which active sessions that user has on the environment. You can log off, you can send them a message, you can disconnect them, all kinds of things that are impossible today with the current version of Windows Virtual Desktop. So last but not least, another great thing is, as I said earlier, is the diagnostic setting export option. So you can now click in the Azure portal to export diagnostic settings, and in that menu you can select if you want to export like host connection errors, host registrations of your session host, all very important information directly into Azure Log Analytics, and you can create out of that custom dashboards that you can use to show proactively what the status of your environment is. So you can either use the great Sepago solution, which is Marcel Moyer explaining later on today as well, or you can create like custom queries based on the metrics that we provide right now. So a very good adaptation of aligning more with native Azure services, which is Log Analytics in this specific. So that brings me up to a point. So I did a tweet end of last year, which stated that 2018 was practice, 2019 was warm up, and 2020 is game time for Windows Virtual Desktop. And I still think in that direction, even after all the positive things that happened due to the extra overhead of Corona, the negative things of Corona, but the positive things that we made it possible to continue work for so many companies. So that and the VDI Like a Pro survey make me think in something special. So I don't know if everybody knows what VDI Like a Pro is, but that's a community initiative where I'm part of with Ruben and with Mark, and we do a survey every year which collects like statuses around VDI infrastructures of the industry. And one of the questions that we asked is, which virtual application and desktop as a service solution are you using or will you introduce to use? And we see with the preliminary results of 2020 that Windows Virtual Desktop is the #1. So a huge acknowledgement as well by the community. And another great thing that we saw is a huge interest coming in as using Logic's Profile Container as their primary profile solution on their virtual desktop and application infrastructure, as well as on Windows Virtual Desktop, but as well in like Citrix and VMware environments. So a huge acknowledgement. So great acknowledgement from the community, and that only acknowledged what I always was thinking. So does this mean that the year of VDI will finally happen? So we know that's an ongoing discussion that happens so many times. So I would like to change that like sentence, that quote, that phrase, and I would want to like declare before we end up 2020 the year of Windows Virtual Desktop. I hope you agree with me, because the demand is amazing, and what is coming next in terms of the management portal will only make it more amazing. So let's make together 2020 the year of Windows Virtual Desktop. So first of all, again, a very big thank you again for supporting us, for staying in here. I would not regret that I've not spent your time and the other speakers your time today not efficient enough, because we have great content coming up. And enjoy the day. And the first speaker of the agenda is Misha and Freek Bersen, two like very awesome MVPs, so you probably know them as well. And after that we have Thomas Poppegaard, Marcel Moyer, Bas van Kaam, Simon Bender, and as well Scott Manchester. So hang in there with us today, and let's switch over to the first speakers of today, Misha and Freek Bersen. Thank you everyone.